Now we're going to talk about proper nouns, and specific in the case of capitalization. First, capitalization is when you write a capital letter, the first letter of a word, and exists different rules that you have to use and that you have to capitalize different words. The first rule is when you have names, but you have different kind of names that you can capitalize them. For example, in the case of places, those are like countries, cities, and those kind of places. For example, Mexico. For example, Guatemala. For example, Guanajuato, Jalisco, etc. Another that you have is when you talk about the languages and nationalities. For that reason, you have to write always with capital letters when you talk about this, for example, Spanish, English, Peruvian, and those. Another is when you talk about buildings and public places. Like, for example, the Golden Gate Bridge. As you check here, the three words have capital letters in the beginning. Another are organizations. For that reason, these organizations always are graded with capital letters, because after, when they have abbreviations, in the case of acronyms, they just take the first letters of all the words. For that reason, you have to use it in that way. For example, UNICEF, it's always in capital letter. Another could be the World Bank. Okay, capital letters. The next, names and titles. This is obviously, probably, like, for example, Anna. Or when you talk about a title, you can say, for example, Dr. Peters. Could be. The doctor in the name has to have the capital letters. Another, those are days, months, and holidays. For example, January, Monday, Halloween, those are religions. For example, Islam. For example, Catholicism, and those kinds. And the last, those are for historical moments or historic times or events. Those are, for example, Independence Day, independence. Okay, the Second World War, and those. So this is in case of names. Another rule that you have to use is that number one, when you have a title, you have to write all the words in capital letters. For example, when you want to write an article, how to sell products easily. As you check here in the title, I write all my words in capital letter. That you have an exception. The exception in this case is never graded in articles. What kind of articles? For example, you can use it for them, of, on, all of them. For example, if you say like this, the university, sorry, with capital, the University of Los Angeles. As you can check here, I write my capital letter because it's the beginning of my sentence. I have to write the capital letter in the case of university in Los Angeles because this is a part of a city. But I didn't write of with capital letter. In this case, of is in a normal way you have to write it. This is the only exception when you talk about titles. You have to use always write it all the words in capital letter except the articles.